Hello, hello. Well, just like you would think, my intention was to record my Bible reading on Mondays, but I was out of town. So I was at the beach with a friend, and so I didn't get it done. I took my stuff just in case I thought I might get it recorded over there, but I didn't. So now it is Wednesday. I got home yesterday, and so we'll start here in Bereshith 5, so Genesis 5. We're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll read a couple chapters and see what the Father shows us. So, Father God, thank you so much for the opportunity to come together and to glorify you by reading your word. I am just so thankful and honored and humbled and blessed to be able to share your word with those that you bring to this channel and to this video. It's all for you, Father, all for your glory. I lift you up and give you praise and honor and worship your holy name. In Yeshua's mighty name, amen. Okay, so Bereshith 5. So this is the book of genealogy of Adam. I used to read through the genealogies, and it's like, ugh, yuck. You know, so-and-so begot so-and-so begot so-and-so begot so-and-so. And then I started realizing that they all kind of click together and who's who, and now it's super cool. So I'm hoping you find it super cool as well and not boring, but, you know, we'll kind of pull some stuff together, hopefully. So this is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of Elohim. Male and female, he created them, and he blessed them, and he called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years. And so he was 130 years old before his first child was born, and brought forth a son in his own likeness after his image, and called his name Sheth. So that's Seth. So this is after Cain and Abel. So he wasn't 130 when his first child was born. He was 130 when Sheth was born. And after he brought forth Sheth, he said, after he brought forth Sheth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So I'd be really curious as to how many sons and daughters that they actually ended up having in 800 years. And you have to think about it. How many generations did they get to see? I mean, with us, okay, my children, my mother's still alive. So I'm the second generation down. My daughter's, son and daughter are the third generation down, and their children are the fourth generation down. So my mother gets to see her great-grandchildren. But it doesn't, great-great-grandchildren are pretty rare nowadays. And boy, can you imagine if you're able to be alive and see your great-great-grandchildren, what an absolute blessing. Wow. So, okay. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So 930 years old, so almost 1,000. And Sheth lived 105 years and brought forth Enosh. And after he brought forth Enosh, Sheth lived 807 years and brought forth sons and daughters. One of the times I read this, I counted up, or I started a tally of, Adam lived, 900. Adam lived 930 years, and he had Seth, when he was. It's way too much math for me, but I need to do it one day. I started it and then never completed it, just to kind of see how many years between each. And the reason that it started really interesting me is because I started reading the book of, it's one of the extra biblical books. And it started talking about how, it talked about Enoch and how several generations would go and study under the generations ahead of them. How Noah, I forget what it said, Noah studied underneath one of his great grandfathers, and he learned the ways of Yahuwah, which I thought was just super cool. Things that I didn't read in here, but in Jasher, the book of Jasher. Fascinating book. I'm almost finished with it. It's fascinating. So anyway, back to here. Sorry, I'm getting so distracted. This is what happens to me when I read the word now. It just all comes alive and gets excited, and I have questions and thoughts, and my brain goes all over the place. So, after he brought forth Seth, the days of Adam were 800. Okay, I'm sorry. Go back down. And after he brought. Okay, so Seth lived 105 years and brought forth Enosh. And after he brought forth Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enosh lived 90 years and brought forth Canaan. And after he brought forth Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. Notice all that, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and brought forth Mahalalel. And after he brought forth Mahalalel, Canaan lived 840 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And if I mispronounce these, and if anybody's listening knows the correct pronunciation, contact me and let me know, because I'm doing my best here. So all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and brought forth Yared. And after he brought forth Yared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Yared lived 162 years and brought forth Hanok. And after he brought forth Hanok, Yared lived 800 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the years of Yared were 962 years, and he died. And Hanok lived 65 years and brought forth Methuselah. And after he brought forth Methuselah, Hanok, so Hanok is what we know, who we know as Enoch. The Hebrew pronunciation is Hanok, Hanok. And to be so connected to the Father that he just takes you home. So after he brought forth Methuselah, Hanok walked with Elohim 300 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Hanok's life were 365 years. So everyone else is living to 900, and when he was in his 300 years, he was 365 years. And Hanok walked with Elohim, then he was no more, for Elohim took him. I mean, he's already 300 and something years old, and then he gets to go be with the Father. And Methuselah lived 187 years and brought forth Lamech. And after he brought forth Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and brought forth a son, and called his name Noah, saying, "This one does comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah has cursed." And like I said, I'll have to go look at the book of Jasher, but I think it was Noah actually trained up under Hanok. And think about that. Okay, so he's so connected to the Father that, he is walking with Elohim, and he knows the ways of Elohim, and he's teaching it to his son and to his grandsons. And I'm almost, I'd have to do the math and go ahead and read the beginning of Jasher again. But I think that Noah and, Noah and even some of Noah's son, can't be, because never mind. So, but I'm pretty sure, I'll have to go read it again, and then I'll update, but I'm pretty sure Noah trained under Enoch. So, okay. And he called his name Noah, saying, "This one does comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah has cursed." And after he brought forth Noah, Lamech lived 590 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So he's 500 years old when he has his boys. And I've heard that they were triplets, but, not sure. So 6, and it came to be when men began to increase on the face of the earth and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. So this in the book of Enoch, and I've had a struggle reading the book of Enoch because my brain has a hard time picturing all the word pictures of the creatures and stuff. I can't. I have a really hard time trying to picture it in my brain. But, this is when the Watchers came down, the fallen angels came down and took human women as their wives and had children with them. So here it's that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, and they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And Yahuwah said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 170 years." So here's where Father decided that they just can't live that long. So the Nephilim are, from what I understand, the children between the fallen angels, the Watchers, and the women, the human women. They had Nephilim. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters, or maybe the Nephilim are the fallen angels. Like I said, I have a hard time reading the book of Enoch. So for those of you that know that, please put it in the comments. That would be awesome, because I want to know more about this. Like I said, reading the book of Jasher just basically took the Bible and painted it in color. Is how I, reading the book of Jasher, it adds so many more details that aren't in this, and it is extra biblical, and some believe that those books are, what I know is that Yeshua, the Messiah, he referenced Jasher, and so did some of the apostles, and so they obviously read it, and so if they read it, I feel safe reading it. My personal. So anyway, okay. So the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards. And when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men, they were born children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name, the giants, basically the renowned mighty men of old, which Nimrod, I think, is considered one of the mighty men of old. I think when we get to that part. And Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah was sorry that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And it's heartbreaking. And Yahuwah said, "I am going to wipe off man whom I've created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature, and birds in heaven, for I am sorry that I have made them." But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah, because he had learned and grown up following the ways of Yah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah brought forth 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with a covering. And this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, and the width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark and complete it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks. And see, I myself am bringing floodwaters on the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of life from under the heavens. All that is on the earth is to die. I'm just thinking, we'll see here that it took Noah a long time to build this ark, and why he's building it. People had to be, what you doing, what's going on, and he's saying, this is what Yahuwah, our Elohim, has told me. I'm building this because, and they're like, yeah, right, whatever. And I kind of feel like that's how it is right now, that those of us who the Father has instructed to prepare and share, that times are getting dark, times are getting scary, times are getting, the time is getting closer to, there's so many signs that the time is getting closer to the end, because it said, as in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of, that when Yeshua returns. And, those of us that are saying, I'm sure that Noah was basically like, turn away from what you're doing and learn from the Father, learn from our Elohim, and follow him. And people scoffed at him. And unfortunately, we have so many that are doing that today, as we try to warn that, they need to repent and turn back to Yahuwah. So, sorry, once again, sidetracked. It just, yeah. No, sorry, where'd I go? Make for yourself an ark. Window. I myself am bringing a flood on the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of life under the heavens. All that is on the earth is to die. And I shall establish my covenant. The covenant. And that's all. This is all about being in covenant. This whole book is about being in covenant. And that's, being like marriage. It's being in a committed covenant to Yahuwah, our King, our Father. So, and I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your son's wife with you. And of all the living of all flesh, 2 of each you are to bring into the ark to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. Of the birds after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and of the creepy creatures on the ground after their kind, 2 of each you are to come to you to keep them alive. As for you, take all the food that is eaten and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. And Noah did according to all that Elohim commanded him, so he did. So here, is the 2 of a kind, 2 of a kind. And I have read this book, I'm not sure how many times, from front to back. And it shows what sticks in your brain from your early childhood learning. We learned that Noah brought animals in 2 by 2. But I was in my 50s before I learned about the other animals, that, the clean and unclean animals. And I don't know why I never saw it before, but so, and Yahuwah said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pair, a male and his female, and of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and a female. So clean animals, he was to bring 7 pairs, and unclean, only a pair. So of the birds of the heavens, 7 pairs, males and females, to keep offspring alive on the face of the earth. For after 7 more days, I am sending rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created. And Noah did according to all that Yahuwah commanded him. Now, Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean beasts and of the beasts that are unclean, and of the birds and all of that creep on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as Elohim had commanded Noah. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heavens were opened. Man, okay. So first off, all of the fountains of the deep. So that makes you think, there's fountains of the deep where waters can gush up, and that the windows of heavens, the 7 firmament, the 7 layers, the 7 heavens, that there's windows in them where water can come down. And he opened the windows and he opened the fountains. And, and then it just, and I always wondered, I remember when I would read, at breakfast, I would read the word to the kids and we would go through this part. And I just can't help thinking, what were all the people and animals that didn't get on the ark? It had to have been chaos, scratching and climbing on and trying to get into the ark once they realized that they had nothing to save them but that ark. And I can imagine that people had to have tried to get into the ark. And and the animals, and it had to have been chaos. And then I go even thinking even further is that then all of a sudden everything starts to drown and float, and then there had to have been like dead bodies of everything floating around, and just you picture the reality of it all, and so it just makes you wonder what it was, the reality, what it was truly like. So it came to be that after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth, and in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up. So there was fountains in the great deep, and they were broken up, and water gushed out of those. And then the windows of heaven were open, and water gushed through those. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And on that same day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of their sons with them, went into the ark. They and every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird after its kind, every bird of every wing. And they went into the ark to Noah 2 by 2, all flesh in which it is the breath of life. And those going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahuwah shut him in. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth, and the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth. And the ark moved about on the surface of the waters, and the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered. And all the flesh died. See, here's like all the flesh died, and there had to be a lot of, it had to have stunk, with all the dead bodies floating everywhere. So anyway, all the flesh died, and the creeping creature on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every swarming creature that swarms on the earth, and all of mankind, all those with whose nostrils with the breath of the spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he wiped off all that stand, which were on the face of the ground, both men and beasts, creeping creature and bird of the heaven, and they were wiped off from the earth, and only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. 8. And Elohim remembered Noah I always find that interesting. And he remembered him. I mean, I guess he's thinking about lots of other things, or it might have just been an idiom, in Hebrew way of writing. He remembered Noah, but you would think he would be remembering him the whole time. But and Elohim remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided, and the fountains of the deep and the windows of the heaven were stopped, and the rains of the heaven was withheld. And the waters receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days the water diminished. And in the seventh new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased steadily until the 10th new moon. In the 10th new moon, on the first day of the new moon, the tops of the mountains became visible. And it came to be at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent out a raven, which kept going and turning back until the waters dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for its feet, and returned into the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of all the earth. So he put out his hand and took it in and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he set the dove out from the ark. And the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So not only had the waters receded, but plants started to grow, obviously, because of full leaf. So plants were starting to grow. And I know, like right now that the warm weather hit, all of my plants are like, have been just little buds, and now the leaves are starting to come out, but it takes a little while. So, and the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return to him. So it found a new home. And it came to be in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the new moon, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second new moon, on the 27th day of the new moon, the earth was dry. And Elohim spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every life form of all flesh that is with you, all the birds and cattle, and all the creeping creatures on the earth, and let them teem on the earth, and bear and increase on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. And every beast, and every creeping creature, and every bird, whatever creeps on the earth, according to their kind, went out of the ark. And Noah built a slaughter place to Yahuwah, and took of every clean beast, of every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the slaughter place. So that's why they had to have extra clean, so that he could offer up an offering. And Yahuwah, so this is even, this is long before, Moses got the 10 Commandments. So, these are the things, like I said, Noah, was under Enoch and learned the ways of Yahuwah, and he's practicing them right here. And Yahuwah smelled a soothing fragrance, and Yahuwah said in his heart, Never again shall I curse the ground because of man, although the inclination of a man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again strike all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. I do that. Every inclination of a man's heart is evil from his youth, and it's so popular. And I even, for the longest time with my wellness coaching, I would post about, follow your heart, and, you do what's in your heart. And the Father really convicted me, because our hearts our inclination of our hearts is wicked and evil, from our youth. And that's, we're not supposed to follow our heart and lean on our own understanding. We're supposed to follow his commandments and what he has, what he has taught us, what this has taught us, and not follow after our own desires and our own, when we follow after our own heart, we become our own God, because we're doing what we want and following after what our heart says it wants. Just so. Anyway, 9, and Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and increase and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you is on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the heaven, and all that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they have been given. And I just thought that was sad that all the animals became afraid, because it sounds like, well, obviously, if all of a sudden they're becoming afraid and having dread of man that before they weren't. And that's sad. I look forward to a day when the animals won't be afraid of us and be in dread and fear of us again. So every creeping creature, number 3, 9:3, every creeping creature that lives is food for you. Okay, remember, up to this point, he had given them every plant to eat. And all of a sudden now, every creeping creature that lives is food for you. I have given you all as I gave the green plants. So, but do not eat flesh with its life, its blood. So that's right here. He starts about draining the blood and not eating the life force of the animal. But only but do not eat the flesh with its life, its blood, but only your blood for your lives I require. From the hand of every beast I require it, and from the hand of man. From the hand of every man's brother I require the life of man. Whoever sheds a man's blood, by man his blood is shed. For in the image of Elohim has he made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase, bring forth teemingly in the earth and increase in it. And Elohim spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, and I established my covenant with you and with your seed after you. Who's Noah's seed after him? All of us. We've all come from Noah. So we're all Noah's seed. So, and I established my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living being that is with you, and the birds and the cattle and every beast and the earth of the earth with you, and all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and never again is all flesh cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again is there a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, this is the sign of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living being that is with you for all generations to come. I shall set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. So this is a covenant between Yahuwah and the earth. And it shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, and I shall remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living being of all flesh, and never again let the waters become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I shall see it, to remember the everlasting covenant between Elohim and every living being of all flesh that is on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. And the sons of Noah who went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These 3 were the sons of Noah, and I thought that was interesting. It talks about Ham, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and then it throws in there that Ham was the father of Canaan. Interesting. These 3 were the sons of Noah. So those 3 were the sons of Noah. And all the earth was overspread from from them. And Noah, a man of the soil, began and planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunk and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, now was Canaan already alive? Or is just in recounting, he's saying Ham, who then eventually had Canaan. There's some stories about that. So let's see. He planted a vineyard, he drank of the wine, and was drunk, and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. He saw the nakedness of his father. So Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it on both their shoulders, and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. But their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and he knew what his younger son had done to him. And he said, "Cursed is Canaan." Why did Noah curse Ham's son? And some commentary, some story was say that he uncovered his father's nakedness, meaning he actually had intercourse with his mother, Noah's wife. And Canaan was actually born from Noah's wife, but it was Ham's son. So anyone knows that, share in there. There's something that that I had read and was interesting, because this has always puzzled me, how this is all. Why does he curse Canaan? Why does he curse the son, his grandson? Let him become a servant of servants to his brothers. And he said, "Blessed be Yahuwah, the Elohim of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. Let Elohim enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant." And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. So all the days of Noah were 950 years, and then he died. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. That's the end of chapter 9. We'll pick up next week on chapter 10. So if you have any comments, any insights, any corrections, anything like that, put them in the comments below. I'd love to have I'd love to talk with others about this. Like I said, I love reading this. I love learning all of this, and I'd love to talk to others about it. So I guess, share it with your friends, anyone who'd like to hear the word being read. I do read out of the 2009 scriptures. It restores the names of Yahuwah and Yeshua and Moshe and Mitzrayim, Egypt, and all of those. It's kind of neat learning the true Hebrew names for all of these. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me this week, and I will get this uploaded soon. And be blessed, and I will see you again next week. Bye.